Okay, so before we get into the meat of the video, this is a replica track created by C4 Detonator called Cal City MX, based off of the 10.14.18 version of it. It is a track from Southern California, I believe, and I'm not a walking track encyclopedia, but I'm sure it's very authentic, and it was really well done in the game. I mean, you really have to get around these corners to clear some of these jumps. I mean, this is a big triple here, and you can take the outside. You can even do it from the middle line, but you really have to get around it, and the track can be kind of slick and slippery, and it looks really rough. It's not as rough. It doesn't feel as rough as it looks, but it is rough, and you can send it from that wall to the final one, but he put up an invisible wall there to stop people from doing it. And I'm glad he did, because that's a huge cheater line, and I think it's really good that he did that. But overall, the track is extremely well done, and this track is actually responsible for what got me thinking about this, on top of the fact that I did see someone commenting about it in, I believe it was a Milestone post about the career, and that's what I want to talk about. What needs to happen, what has to happen in the next Moto games. And I don't care if it comes from, I mean, it could come from THQ Nordic Rainbow Studios, it could come from Milestone. I would really like to see EA pick something like this up, because they already kind of do it, and it just feels like it would just be such a nice return. You know, they used to make games like this, and then they stopped. I don't even know, was it the 90s? I think it was in the 90s they kind of quit doing it, because it's a very niche thing, you know, it's not a big... You know, I don't think you're going to get super rich off of making motocross games, so companies want to make money, and if they're not making money, they don't do it. And so I think that's kind of why EA maybe dropped it, but I feel like Supercross is a big enough thing that maybe they could get enough of a return to make it worth it. Although, that being said, what I want to talk about is going to cost a lot of money and take a lot of manpower. I want to see the career done better. The career in these games is just generally boring and lackluster. I know Milestone's the real thing, and Supercross the game, and MXGP Pro, the extreme career, it's really well done and it's realistic, but it's boring. It's so grindy and boring, and I know the sport in general can be a very long, grueling, grinding season, but it's so boring. I don't enjoy doing it. I used to kind of enjoy it, and then... You know, once you've done one in one game, you've done it all, basically. So it's just, it needs more. So what I'm talking about is the career, not the physics. I know the physics is what the backbone of these games, but I'm talking about the career and the enjoyability to it. So what I think they need to do is completely 100% revamp the career. You can keep the realistic feel to it, where like in Supercross, where you have the real thing, and MXGP Pro with the extreme career, you can keep that, but the experience of everything else needs to happen better. I want to see, think Euro Truck Simulator, okay? Euro Truck Simulator. A lot of people want simulation, so I think we could get the best of both worlds here to some degree. Euro Truck Simulator. So you start off, I want to see the first game they make, I would like to see more based off of amateurs. So you find some of the best amateur tracks, and you go around racing in your box van. Let's say you start out in your box van as a privateer with your dad as your mechanic or your buddy as your mechanic, and you have to drive from race to race, okay, in your box van. And it's not like open world like the Crew. I mean, you have to take certain roads, but it kind of gives you that sense of open world and the simulation of driving to the races. And if you get to the race early, maybe you could stop at another local track and practice and get your riding in for the week, you know what I mean? Have a couple random tracks scattered around during the season and stuff like that in the game, to where you can hit up those tracks before having to go to the race. You get to the race, it procs a cutscene, okay? So you got to go through a cutscene of whatever it may be, and then that would basically act as your load screen into the race. Now, the racing would be similar to Milestone games, MX versus ATV games. It wouldn't really change. It would load you in. It's not going to be like GTA here, where you get on your bike and then you go ride. I think it would be best to have a dedicated a load screen to load you in, so the game feels like an authentic motocross game too. Supercross game, whatever. And then if you finish second, or if you finish off the podium, you have a certain cutscene. If you finish second or third, you have a cutscene for that. If you finish first, you have a cutscene for that as well. And then that would act as your load screen to get back to your van and head off to the next race. Maybe you have to load your bike up, whatever, and get in the van and go to the next race, and you have a week to get there, and in-game time or whatever. And if you get there early and you're more efficient and you don't stop at whatever you may stop at, again, you can stop at a local track and practice, and then it's a different local track, obviously, because it's a different track, actual race that you're going to, and then go to the race, and you know, maybe during the year you earn credits. You're earning credits along the way, and maybe you buy or get picked up by a small team or get sponsored by someone else, and you can buy an RV. Okay, so you moved up in the world. You can pay to have a mechanic too, and you're still driving to the races. So Euro Truck Simulator, remember? And then towards the end of the season, you get picked up by a satellite team, you know, so you have you're getting paid more money. Maybe you can fly to the races. So at the end of the season, you can upgrade to flying, although flying will cost your credits. So not only do you have to use your credits to upgrade your bike, pay for flying and stuff like that, or I just said it, you have to use your credits to fly, and it would be fairly expensive. It would make you think about whether or not you want to use that money to fly to the race or buy an upgrade or eat or whatever they want to add to it. And then at the end of the season, you become an established amateur, and you are on a satellite team, and then that would be the end. The next game would be focused on let's say the Lucas Oil Nationals. You're on a satellite team, and you work your way up onto a factory 450 ride, you know? So, and the cost of flying to the races would be nothing. It would be part of your whatever. And flying to the race would actually be like fast traveling. It would be equivalent to fast traveling. So if you didn't want to drive, you got tired of the simulation side of driving, you could just fly to the races. So I don't know. I think that needs to happen. I think you can still have your core motocross mechanics in the game where after the cutscene, it's your load screen into actually being at the track, and then you just have your regular races. Like, for instance, with Milestone, you'd have say it's for a Supercross game. You have the real thing. So you do the entire real race night, and then you have the cutscene of when you finish, however you finish, whether it's off the podium or on the podium or you're winning, and then you get back into your RV or your box van or you take a flight and go to the next one. But start off with amateur tracks, okay? So make the game an amateur game, and then move to like the Lucas Oil Nationals, or make Supercross the Game 3 or Supercross the Game 4 like that. You know, make it a back-to-back game where they're connected. I think that would be so successful, and it would kind of give you the simulation a little bit of the life, and as well as just having a good motocross game to play. I think that would do really, really well. I know it would take a lot of development and research and testing, and hey, I'm open for testing. If you need testers or help with research and development, I'm available. Contact me. I am available. But seriously, I mean, let's face it, that would do really well. I mean, you guys would like to see that too. I see you guys talking about it all the time. Something kind of based off of Long Shot or NBA 2K19 or whatever. I don't really play those games, but they have like cutscene stories, and then, you know, you get a little bit of that Euro Truck Simulator in there where you have to drive to the races, but then you have the best of the actual racing when you get to the track. I think it would add so much, and I think it would be very successful, and it would get rid of these boring careers that I just think are repetitive and nothing really is different about them. I think it would just make it fresh, man. Make it fresh. It's time to freshen these games up a bit. And then, you know, we can make a whole separate video talking about physics and stuff like that. And I know a lot of the elitists out there that only want MX Simulator or Reflex. Well, I would love to see Reflex be incorporated into a game too, because I think it's a really good mix of kind of a real feel but arcade. I think that's the best thing for these games. The guys that just want like MX Simulator, I'm sorry, but you're flat out wrong. I mean, yeah, there's an MX Simulator crowd and all that, and it seems like that's the most vocal, the guys that want the realistic stuff, but I think you really probably make up a small percentage of the people that are actually buying these games. I think if they actually did that, a lot of people, you know, the younger crowd that plays on console would hate it. I really think a lot of them would hate it. And I'm not saying that young people don't play Simulator. I'm just saying that I think a majority of people would not enjoy it. They just wouldn't. I think you have to have a simcade kind of game, and then add some of those aspects that I was talking about. No, not some. Add the aspects that I'm talking about. I really am 100% sure that it would be successful. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments your opinions. What do you think of my opinion? I really think it should happen. I think we need to lobby for this. Let's get it going. Start the hashtag. Hashtag this needs to happen in a motocross game. That's going right now. We can maybe shorten it up eventually. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. But I'm serious. I'm curious. What are your opinions, guys? Let me know down in the comments. I want to know how you feel about it. And maybe you could add some things to kind of what I was trying to build on in this video. So, yeah. You guys and girls are absolutely amazing. And until the next video, take it easy.